Let's move on. Let's move on to this from Ripley, who's had a chance of wearing this. If any resemblance to the recently released Christopher Ward is purely accidental. The Artime AR-TO3ST Tourbillon watch. I love this. Ripley, you've got hands on with it. What did you think?
I love this too. A lot of people don't like these. They're really cool. This is their smallest model. The Art 01 was the first. We've covered it before. It exists in titanium and rose gold. This is the Art 03. Art 02 is still under development. It's a smaller version, but because the movement it's a singular object. The movement is mounted directly to the case, the bridges. There's no main plate or anything. The case itself is constructed on this one in stainless steel. They also are making yellow gold one. But to make a smaller watch, it's not like a movement in a watch. You have to make a smaller whole movement. They've relocated the function selector from the giant crown that was on the previous ones to this smaller pusher there kind of at 4 o'clock. You can still see through the side of the case. And then the other big critique of the original one, aside from it just being a very large piece, was that it was just too skeletonized. They did that on the Art 01 because you could really see how the bridges extended past the bezel and mounted in the case. On this one, they still wanted to retain that effect, but they realized people don't necessarily want to look at a lot of wrist hair all the time. And so what those blue things you're seeing isn't a main plate or plates in any capacity. They're these decorative plates that are positioned at different planes between the actual sculptural bridges. Keep in mind, all the bridges and gears are crafted from solid white gold, but the case is steel and sapphire. So it fills in all the gaps, but it doesn't obscure any of the mechanical parts, which is kind of genius. So you can look at all of the same components that you would on the Art 01 in this different, smaller, more truncated movement. But you have this blue backdrop that kind of spans the entirety of what would otherwise be clear in the case. And it costs about $250,000.
Yeah.
Limited edition of 30 pieces.
Just to go back, breaking new beats, we're all buying Bremen. This is the strategy meeting. I like the idea. Let's have a crowdfund. Dear Bill Ackman, we would like to buy Bremen. Yours sincerely, a blog to watch community. Right, let's hit miss maybe on this. On the count of 3, is it hit, is it miss, or is it maybe 1, 2, 3, go? Hit, miss, miss. Oh, it's a top line of misses and a bottom line of hits. Guy, why is it a miss? You Luddite, you.
Feels like some strange glitch in the Matrix when you're showing this watch after the last one at, 50 times the price?
Yeah. And with a Bremen Endurance strap on it.
I mean, David has to hate it after what he said about the bracelet on the other one. And you can hardly see the pans when, they get lost in the design.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I'd rather have a small house, get an Airbnb house to rent out for $210,000 instead of that on my wrist.
It's not either or if you're buying this watch. You already have all the houses you need. This is the trivial.
You are Airbnb. It doesn't. There is no way you could put that in front of 1,000 people, and there is no way they would say it's worth over $200,000.
I don't know. Let's try it. Let's get one. Let's go to Buchanan Street and try it. Oxford Circus. Let's give it a go. Here, sir. Oh, where's my watch gone? Yeah. Okay, doke. Kevin, you give it a miss as well?
I certainly did. I mean, we talked about last week about legibility. I agree with Guy. You can't see the hands. You don't know what time it is, and the design is not that interesting to me for you to spend £500,000 on. I just can't see why anybody would spend that sort of money on this particular piece. I just can't get my head around it. I really can't. To me, it's an awful design. And it's definitely a miss. No wonder they've made a limited number of it. What is the diameter of it? Massive on. I take it they're your wrists, Ripley. Is that in the picture?
Yeah, it's Ripley's chicken wrists.
They are.
Yeah,
39, I think. 38, 39.
Is it really?
It's actually a 34 millimeter watch.
The wrists on that skinny, Ripley.
Yeah, it's. I've got quite small wrists. These wear quite large. You should go see me with the full size one of these in a past article. It is pushing the upper limits of what's possible.
David?
I'm so confused. This is basically, it looks like a watch that I've always wondered what a watch would look like if nobody designed it. This is basically just a bunch of watchmakers like, let's do this. And the idea is novel, even though I don't see the technical benefit of not having a main plate at all, because it still looks heavy AF since they've used so much white gold and steel and whatever. So if you don't use a main plate, then make it thin and make it light. And then this whole thing is just basically a bunch of wheels and plates and stuff thrown inside a very, very dull and slightly disproportionate looking case. It literally is the complete non-existence of design. It really is, which is fantastic in a way. If you look at it, it has sort of a mini track and some hour markers and some hands to fulfill its original function, because after all, we are engineers and we have to tell the time. But we have not given two thoughts apparently to, like the hour markers look like they're circles, but the hands are angular. The whole thing is just so random. And the price, I was shocked. I thought this would be like maybe a fraction of that. But at the same time, I see they've put a lot of work into the engineering of it. I'm sure this is like, a very important project to whoever has worked on it. I wish them well. I just can't fathom. It's just so it's basically the uninvention of watch design in a way, for $250,000. That's just so weird to me.
For those who are watching on YouTube or who are watching on the Spotify video player, you can see the previous one that Ripley reviewed, which is somewhat larger. What I don't understand is why the larger one is cheaper than the new one. Is this not?
Maybe it was just an old exchange rate.
Old exchange rate. I mean, I did write this up post announcement of tariffs, so the U.S. dollar is not what it was 4 weeks ago.
Well, Ripley, you give it a hit.
It's a hit. I inexplicably love what this brand does. They're one of those things where you kind of have to handle them to get the full appreciation and the effect. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. Is it a sensible way to spend the money? Absolutely not. But I think that would apply to pretty much any six-figure timepiece. At that price point, it's not this or, it's not this or a house or a boat or a car. It's this and whatever else you want. This is kind of the trivial purchase. It's quite a bit more wearable than the super skeletonized Art 01. I'd still rather have the Art 01, even though it just doesn't fit my wrists. I just like to fondle it and look at the object. But yeah, these are just cool. I just inexplicably like them. And honestly, if someone put a gun to my head and he said you had to go spend like $250,000 of someone else's money on one watch, then you couldn't keep or sell or anything like that, I might very well be taking it over to Arttime and picking something up, just because it's not the RM. The Richard Mille is kind of just like the uninformed six-figure watch purchase. It's kind of what you see on like rappers and athletes and everything. If you see another person with one of these, you're probably going to have a cool conversation with them, because they've spent an exorbitant amount of money on something that has, doesn't have that same resale value or clout or anything. The brand was just launched 2 weeks ago. Or 2 years ago rather. So, I mean, it's, yeah, I just really like these. I have no idea why it's, if I try to rationalize it, none of it would make any sense, but I just like to hold these and play with them.
It's a £250,000 watch with a Velcro strap. Need I say more? Of course.
I mean, what do you want on it? I think a deployment buckle would be nice, but
it would just be so de rigueur. It needs to be Velcro, yes, because that's how you decide
a
sports watch.
They could just include a president bracelet, from Rolex. To say, hey, so it's better value. You kind of put it on the watch, but
it actually comes with Velcro, the company, when you buy the watch.
Well, the cool thing about the strap, if we want to get really technical, in the previous version, there was one that had a buckle, and then they also had a Velcro option.
Yes.
This one, similar to the Ulysses Nardin Diver Air Strap, the Velcro buckle part secures with 2 pieces of Velcro. There's the one that loops through it, but then the black one on the connecting side is also adjustable, so you can better center the clasp and fine tune it to your wrist size. So That's
What we're saying
a
is
step in.
the world's most complicated micro adjustment is what we're saying.
No, it's just Velcro. I mean, this is the world's easiest micro adjustment.
All right, okay. Breaking New Beats was apologising for doing drugs while he was watching. So HQ is what the second crown is for. It's the mode selector, isn't it?
Yeah, before you'd press the tip of the crown and the crown was just one big piece. That's just a separate push piece that engages the column wheel operated function selector. So similar to chronograph, you push it, column wheel turns, except rather than starting a chronograph complication, it switches between winding, neutral, and time setting modes for the crown. So the crown doesn't pull out at all. It's a singular kind of fixed object that just rotates.
Yeah. There we go.